In this video I'm going to talk about my Mirka DEROS random orbit sander. Before I talk about the Mirka though, I'll talk briefly about the sanders I used before getting this, just so you know what I'm comparing it with. The first random orbit sander I had was the Makita BO5021 and I was generally happy with it. It performed okay, but the Velcro didn't hold onto the discs so well, even after I bought a new replacement base for it. And also at the time I was getting more and more cordless tools, so I decided to invest in the Makita DBO180 cordless sander, which was just under £100. That sander had a really good Velcro base, very sticky, and I loved that it was cordless, but I found that the speed of the sander was far too slow for my liking, even on its maximum speed setting, and battery life was also disappointing, even on a 5 amp-hour battery. I hate sanding, so I wanted to get something that would speed up the process and make it less of a pain. So at first I went looking for another cordless sander, and the options were, and still are, really limited, so I started looking at some more premium corded sanders instead, and I ended up ordering the Bosch Ge X 150 Turbo on Amazon, which was around £280. That sander was really impressive in terms of power and speed, especially in turbo mode, which is great for removing material really aggressively. The turbo mode in that sander offers a similar function to the Festool Rotex sanders, but I also found the Bosch to be really heavy. Sanding a horizontal surface with it was fine, but anything else was quite uncomfortable. You really need two hands to use it for any decent length of time. So I decided not to keep that one and actually returned it to Amazon for a refund and started looking again at the sanders that were available. And that's when I found this, the Mirka DEROS, and this was even more expensive than the Bosch. It was way more than I wanted to spend, but I ended up putting in an offer for one on eBay, and I paid around £360 for the sander, which came with two sanding bases, a 125mm pad and a 150mm pad, plus lots of the Abranet sanding discs, which are also quite expensive to buy, and a vacuum hose and a plastic sustainer case. Now I'll talk about what I like and dislike about the Mirka DEROS. So first, the likes. When I got it out of the box, I was instantly impressed. It really feels like a premium tool in the hand, really nice to hold. The body is super lightweight too, holding it in one hand is no problem whatsoever. It's also got very little vibration, so using it for long periods of time is really comfortable compared to the other sanders I've used. It's very small and compact too, with a low profile, which is great when sanding in tight spaces, and it runs really quietly. I've always used ear defenders when using the other random orbit sanders that I've owned, but it doesn't feel necessary with this sander. It purrs like a kitten. Dust collection on this is fantastic, particularly with the Abranet mesh style sanding discs. When hooked up to an extractor, it really seems to capture 99% of the dust, and dealing with the dust is one of the worst parts of sanding, so that's a huge bonus. With normal sanding discs, I've still found it to be really effective at collecting most of the dust. Definitely better than the other sanders I've used, but the Abranet discs are definitely more effective. The speed is excellent. It sands very quickly at maximum speed, which is up to 10,000 RPM. The variable speed lever on the top took some getting used to. At first I wasn't really sure about it. Basically, once you press the power button, the lever is active, and I had a few mishaps with it. For example, I put the sander down on its back to apply a new disc, and of course the lever gets activated and it starts moving. Also, on a cluttered workbench, occasionally I'd find something would land on the lever and it would power up when I didn't want it to. But now I've got into the habit of turning the power button off as soon as I've finished using it, and now I've gotten used to how the variable speed lever works. I actually really like it because while you're sanding you can vary the speed just by moving your hand. No need to touch the plus and minus speed buttons. It's great for being able to slow down to sand any delicate spots on projects. It has a brushless motor and it's built so that no dust can get on the inside of the body to prolong the life of the tool, and it also comes with a 3-year warranty for peace of mind. Having 2 different sized pads is nice too. I haven't swapped them over much, but it's nice to have the option, and it's also really easy to swap them over with the supplied spanner. I also like that the tool can be detached from the power lead, but that's not as easy as I'd like it to be, which brings me on to the dislikes. The power cable port on the tool has this tab on that you need to press in to detach the cable, and that's quite awkward to do, especially when you have a hose size adapter like I do here. And let's face it, these stupid dust ports are never the right size for whatever you want to connect them to, so the chances of you needing to use an adapter are quite high. The second thing I dislike is more about the Abranet sanding discs than the sander itself. While these discs are absolutely brilliant for dust collection, as I've already mentioned, I found that they aren't very robust. In fact, every one I've used so far, and I've probably been through about 5 or 6 of them, have ripped. They don't have the same rigidity that a normal sanding disc has. They are fine for sanding flat surfaces, but if you start sanding edges with them or anything that's an unusual shape, then they will rip. And as they're expensive, that can be frustrating. For that reason, I don't think I'll be buying any more of them in future. I'll use up the ones I've got already and then just stick to using the usual sanding discs. And the only other thing that I dislike is that it's not cordless. If it ran on a battery, I'd be even more thrilled with it than I am already. But seeing as none of the best tool companies have managed to produce a high quality cordless random orbit sander yet, I suspect maybe that level of technology just isn't quite ready. Hopefully it will be at some point in the near future. In summary, this sander has made sanding almost pleasurable, or at least as pleasurable as it can be. Yes, it's very expensive, but for me it's worth the money and I have no regrets buying it. I love it. I hope you found this video useful. Please subscribe for more weekly woodworking videos if you haven't already, and thank you for watching.